Thank you, Ms. Kennedy, for the wonderful summary of the MDGs and SDGs. So our next speaker is a very good friend of our Secretary General of UPF. So he's going to talk about how will the role of media plays in monitoring the progress of the Sustainable Development Goals after they're launched. So he has over 20 years of experience in the media. He's currently working as a program manager at Children's Radio Foundation, and as a freelance journalist. And so he's more than qualified to give us a talk in this area. So please welcome Ms. Koubaka, Mr. Koubaka. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and thank you to all of you for paying attention. My name is Henri-Pierre Koubaka. I'm originally from Senegal, and as James said, I've traveled across Africa as a reporter and a journalist. I am now based in London. So today I'll be talking as a journalist, but also as somebody who has done a couple of things in the development world, as the program manager for Children's Radio Foundation, of course, but also as the coordinator for 3 years for the West Africa Peace Initiative based in Dakar. And as we've heard, next September, heads of state and heads of government will be meeting to talk about the final list of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, that will run through 2030. So there are, as we've heard, 17 proposed or suggested goals at the moment. A lot of my peers, a lot of journalists are saying, we're just hoping that it's not going to be another Davos or another meeting where people will be spending all this money into jets and flying around and limousines and spending all this money when you come out of the meeting with, oh, we couldn't agree. Oh, David Cameron wants 12. Oh, François Hollande wants 10. Oh, so that's the current feeling amongst some of my colleagues. So there are 17, as it's been told, you know, they're widely available online. All you have to do is type SDGs and they will just come out. So 17 means, yeah, that's proposed. We should not forget that there are 17, but they also have what is called 169 targets. It's part of the package. So it's not just the 17 that is an issue, because it is at the moment. There's also 169 targets that they will have to talk about. So that means what? That means there's a lot of work. There's a lot to do. Again, a lot of my colleagues are thinking, we just cross our fingers, hoping that it's not going to be another meeting where people will come out and say, we couldn't agree, and so, et cetera, et cetera. So the role of the media in this process cannot be, one, questioned, two, underestimated. So I'm speaking as a journalist, of course, but again, we do believe that the role of the media, and when we say the media, we're not just saying the radio or TV. We're talking about the media as the big family. So that role is very important. So the question that I've been asked to deal with is, how will the media play its role in monitoring the progress of the new Sustainable Development Goals once they're launched? So it's a pretty tough and rough question. James earlier said that I'm more than qualified. I almost fainted when he said that, because the question is a very dangerous question. How? It means I cannot be standing here and just go blah, 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 blah. Theoretically, this is going to happen. I was asked how. The how. For us journalists, how is very dangerous because we have the 4 W's and blah, 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 blah. So how will the media play, not a role, its role? I've struggled with this question, with the question for quite some time. And so how will the media play its role? Well, let's put it this way. Very simple question, very simple answer. The media needs to do its job. Simple. And I'm done, right? You're chuckling because I'm not done, because it's more complex and more complicated than that. 2 reporters in the same media house don't see their job the same. I have colleagues, we've reported on the AU summit. We're in the same place, we're in the same building, we're in the same, between the 4, we're doing the same things. We're trying to interview heads of state and stuff like that. We don't see our role the same. So the role of the media is a very complex question. So what is its role? Its role is to do its job. What is its job? What is the media job? The school I'm coming from and the school I've been working with and the way I've been working and the media houses that I've been associated with, so when I say for us, I'm talking about from my experience. For us, the media needs to inform, first of all. Some people will say the media's job is not there to editorialize you or to tell you what to think. That's a complete different issue. Because sometimes we're just happy to open a magazine or to open a newspaper and to see a very well-written editorial. That's theme-based. So to start with, we're saying the media's role is to inform. Okay? That we can agree upon. Some of us go a little further. We're saying the media needs to inform. The media also needs to investigate. Some of us go even further than that. Inform, investigate, advocacy. So we will limit ourselves to those 3 so that we don't, once again, we don't derail and we don't go off the chart. The media needs to focus more on the SDGs. How? By producing more on the SDGs. More articles, more radio shows, more TV shows on the SDGs. I think that's pretty basic. They need to produce, meaning they need to work on how these SDGs will impact the daily lives of the people on the ground. Okay? We're journalists, we do a lot of beautiful things, some of us are into academia, we do a lot of research, etc. A lot of times we forget that when we're covering a topic, we need to come down to basics. Okay? How will these SDGs impact the lives of people on the ground every single day? Now, the UN used to say people who live under $1 a day. There's a little upgrade now. We've been upgraded to $1.25 a day. Now, when I fly to Freetown, to Longhi Airport, and I get off at Freetown, and I meet these 25-year-olds who are selling water or who are selling airtime, how will the SDGs impact their lives? What do they care about the SDGs? What will the SDGs bring to them? That is our job as media to cover that. The media need to help people understand the SDGs. I mean, understand. When we talk about climate change, we need to help people understand what climate change means to the young person who is 18, who lives behind Chess in Porokhane in Senegal, and who's thinking that he cannot farm anymore. Why? Because his only dream is to go to Dakar, the capital city, because that's where he will find a job. It is our job in the media to explain to people the value of farming. It is our job to run documentaries on how farming has developed places, and how farming has made people rich, because that's what people want, etc., etc. We need to talk about how the impact of ethanol on farming, the impact of, okay, we want cars that don't run with petrol and gas anymore, etc. We want alternative product to run our cars. Where is that alternative product coming from? Some of it comes from land grabbing. I'm not going to derail. I'm staying. It is our job as the media to go back to basics. At school, we were taught, media school, we were taught about the KISS principle, which we all interpret differently. To keep it more positive, it's keep it short and simple. Your reporter, editor used to tell me, Henri-Pierre, keep it short and simple. Use active verbs, use the present if you can, and in French, because I worked mainly in French, you can tell from my accent, it was sujet, verbe, complément, point. That's it. That's what I need from you. Simple. So it is our job to make sure that this list of 17 and 100 and blah, 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 whatever that list becomes, it is our job to take it and break it down and tell people, this is what some people have decided, supposedly, because they consulted with you. Because that consultation is also problematic. But I won't derail. It is our job, because the question is, how will we make sure? It is our job to hold governments and corporations, to hold them accountable, responsible for what they're doing. So that means elections and all that kind of hoo-ha. We need to pay a closer look at what is going on. When people came to Senegal and said, okay, no more paper ballot. We said, yes. What's going to happen? Oh, you'll have a card. It's a small card. Looks like a credit card. We're like, wow, upgrade. We love this. Okay? Basically, what we didn't know is that we became a number in the computer, right? We never questioned the technology behind the computer. We were questioning the results. We never questioned how we got to the results through the computer. It is our job in the media to break it down and help people have a much better vision of what's going on. It is our job to keep governments accountable when it comes to tax avoidance. Tax avoidance needs to be looked at when we talk about these goals. Tax avoidance, tax evasion. I'm not going to go into any names because I don't want to get in trouble. I want to go home tonight and have a nice dinner and have a nice hot chocolate. When a former leader from Europe comes to Senegal, 2 days later they leave. They supposedly came to help Senegal focus on development questions and develop. 2 days later, we have a change of prime minister. We have a new prime minister. Great, okay. Okay, no conspiracy theory here. The problem we have is when you go and you start looking at the track record of this new prime minister, wow, it looks a lot like he knows the former leader who just visited the country. And that former leader from Europe just happens to have an NGO that focuses on governance. We need to look at those things. Yeah? It is our job to dig. So tax avoidance, tax evasion, corporate social responsibility. I love that word. I've been a project manager for corporate social responsibility. And again, a lot of the times, what it means is giving money so that you don't get heavily taxed in the country where you operate. All right, my friend Henri-Pierre, here is 0.0001% of the global budget of this company, of the operational budget of this company, because there's several budgets in there. So let's see where in Africa we can dig a well and do something so that people can be happy. And then we dig the well, we put a fence around it, and the day of the inauguration, we bring out the drums, everybody's happy. We make, yes, we worked in development. We did not. So the media, I was asked, how will it? It is our role to look into what we mean by corporate social responsibility. I'm not saying that everybody's messing around, but there are very serious cases that are very questionable. The media needs to encourage the youth, especially the youth in Africa, to walk away from business as usual. They need to create, they need to invest, they need to think about alternatives and not just sit there and wait. The media needs to be the gatekeeper and focus on transparency. But for that to happen, the media need also to be very free. How many times do we hear in the news that journalists are being put in jail? I'm not saying we're angels, we are not. But you put in jail for many years and nobody knows when you're going to get tried, nobody knows what's happening, if you don't just disappear, like in the Gambia, I can say it. So citizen media needs to be given the importance it has. Media today is not just radio, TV, and the newspapers. You have the blogs, you have social media, you have Twitter, Facebook, etc. We need to look into those things and empower the youth, teach them how to use it so that they can speak up and speak out. The question of partnership will come back a lot, whatever the final list is. People will be talking about partnership. We need to look at partnership. We need to break it down and see what kind of partnership we're talking about. I don't want to overstay and take too much of your time because the minutes I was given have completely run out. The big question for Africa is this. And again, I'm not speaking on behalf of Africa. There's not one Africa. It's a big continent with 52, at least 52 independent countries at the moment. Without forgetting everything that's within Senegal, we have a lot of, okay. But generally speaking, here is the mood. People in Africa don't want to be shortchanged. Things have changed from my generation to my nephews and my nieces. They do not want to be shortchanged. Whatever the final list is, if the final list does not reflect what youth in Africa want, it's not going to work because they will feel shortchanged. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.